Flying Fox Fruits, here with another video on Plinias jabuticabas. This one is about growing them in a greenhouse. Why grow them in a greenhouse? The challenges of growing them in a greenhouse or pushing the zone limits. You know, this is a little different than growing them outside because it gets really hot in here. You can see I have a fan running behind me. That's essential, especially if you have stuff on tables. You know, sometimes you got to grow stuff on tables, especially if you want to ship to California from Florida. And when you're up on a table, things are hotter because heat rises. You're gonna have fans to keep things circulating in a greenhouse. That's just how it goes. I'm just telling you how it went for me. But these are just some things I want you to consider if you're thinking about growing jabuticabas, Plinias, or any other similar rare fruits in a greenhouse where outside it maybe gets below zero sometime throughout the winter. So these are all some Plinias seeds that I planted in community pots. I was too lazy to put them in trays, or I didn't have trays. Look at these. You see some of them, you get one of them or two that might die back or die, but this is like, you know, you come out and you separate them later. This is one way that I really like to grow them, you know, in community pots. And then this is another way if you keep coming down. These are in community pots again, but they're in pots, smaller pots of 4, where I can separate them really easy. You know, you just take them, and then now I have 2 trees if I pull it apart. And so these are in pots as well, community pots, 3 or 4 per 4-inch pot. That's a fun way to grow them too. These handle the heat really well as long as you keep them humid and you put a fan on them. Don't let them dry out. These are some grimmels, those are hestingas. Both of them are known for taking some heat. And there's are some that I separated up there in them cups. It's just everything's going according to plan. Now, look at these, our grimmels. These ones are getting on to be probably about 12, 15 years old or so now, maybe more. They have been in these pots for at least 2 or 3 years, and we just fluffed them up and added some soil underneath, some good peat moss. You're gonna constantly be pulling weeds and pulling weeds off of the ground. Look at the weeds growing everywhere, they're in piles. You're gonna have to scrape that off the ground in my greenhouse. You might not have the same issue. I've seen people doing it with rocks, and then they spray Roundup. I don't spray Roundup out here, but a lot of people just say and spray Roundup. Hey, if it's a windy day and it gets on your tree, good luck to you. Hey, I know. But look over these have been fruiting. But look at the callus, you see how bumpy? Look at it like warty. These have been getting a little too hot. So one of my challenges in here is keeping from hitting the roof. I always got to keep from hitting them roof. You see I cut it back, Chris? Let's go walk over here. I got one over here on the end that's trying to dry out, Chris. Let's go see if we can save it. Let me show you what happens when you forget to water a big, beautiful tree. Look at that. See how dry it looks? It's dry looking. It's not dead, but look, you see how that's wilty? It shows you how strong they are. Ooh, buddy, that is dry. I'm gonna pull it a little bit more towards the middle, but look at it's trying to hit the ceiling. I'm gonna cut all that back and use it as grafting material. That's what I do. But I don't think, personally, I don't think I want to keep these in the greenhouse forever because they grow a little too tall, a little too fast. I don't know, it's a toss-up. I think about it sometimes. Do I want to plant these in the ground in the greenhouse, or do I want to take them out of the greenhouse? I don't know. I might keep them in here. I'm torn. I always say, I'm not going to do this, so maybe anyway. I would turn the sprinkler on like this. Look at this. Oh, I forgot I turned off the well. We'll come back to that. I'm going to water that tree. But see, a lot of times when I'm growing in the greenhouse, it gets so hot that in order to keep it cool in here, I run the water and look what it does. It leaves this algae and iron on the leaf, and it makes them look really nasty. It doesn't kill the tree, it just makes it look unsightly. It probably slows down the growing. Probably keeps off bugs too though. You know, there's a give and a take from it. But these are my grimmels and pots. I don't know if you want to show them. These are gorgeous fruiting trees. On a good year, you get 3 or 4 crops, but only about 2 of them are big, and then the other 2 are sparse. But I had 4 crops one year. Now, I noticed when you're growing in the greenhouse, they seem to fruit a little more than outside because you got more, I guess, shade and moisture than outside in a more controlled climate. But these trees are bigger and older than the ones out in the grove. That's probably another reason they're fruiting so well. Look at this scarlet going off from this pot. It's got some bugs on it, but look at that. Scarlet, baby. Let's see if I can pull this out of the way here. Sorry, I'm doing everything wrong. Nice, growing that in the pot. in the greenhouse is doing well. Scarlet, baby. Yeah, we need to give these a little fertilizer, I think. But remember, it was flooded in here a while ago. Look at this one on the end. Got some nice fruit, looking really ripe. We better get it before the rats do. That's a red jabuticaba. I got Coronata hestinga planted in the ground over here where it gets very mucky and very wet. This was totally saturated not long ago. But like I said, a challenge of growing these in the greenhouse is excessive heat. The water, you know, to keep them cool, putting the water on them here will stain the leaves. That's another thing. Planting them in the ground, you're going to need to consider your soil. Maybe you need to dig a big hole and refill it with something that's better soil than what you have. So consider your soil pH, consider the heat, consider air circulation. The ultimate size of the tree, is it going to hit the ceiling? You're going to have to keep cutting it back all the time. Let's pick some fruit on these reds and get on out of here. But look at these things fruiting nice right now. And they're flowering again. The season's really just kicking off right now. The you know, it goes through the winter and stops when it gets really, really warm. And now it's, I guess, not cooling down, but they're starting to fruit in the warm part of the season, which is to me like the first kind of like they're starting again. These things were shut down and didn't fruit for a minute. It's been probably a month or two since they fruited at all. So this is like a restart, and it just gets more and more until it really freezes. So let's pick a little fruit. These are hestingas. Need to put weeds. Hestinga. Look at the hestinga. That's beautiful. Hasn't flowered yet, but any time now. Plinias coronata variety hestinga. And they're planted in this really wet location. They're definitely going to need to be pruned back from hitting that ceiling. Look at that. Look at the fruit on that, Chris. And then also I want to show them this when you're done. Look at the old stained growth from where I kept it wet and watered from getting burned up. And the new growth coming out beautiful. You see how it does that? Some fruit over here. A couple over here, yeah. And then this last tree. Oh, we beat the rats to it, man. The rats have been beating me up. We beat them. The fruit usually get bigger than this too. These are just kind of whatever. But the fruit gets better and better up until when it gets colder. You know, I like the best fruit usually is November and December, in my opinion. And then these are red jabuticabas. We're probably going to end the video over here in the corner. Show them this. Always wash your fruit before eating it. You can get that rat lung disease, man. I'm not even kidding, man. Wash it. Look at this Plinias coronata hestinga. Beautiful tree. Beautiful tree. Look at the whiteness of the bark. The whiteness of the bark. See, it's like a white. This is Myrciaria vexator, one of the few Myrciarias out here. Look at the flowers, Chris. It's got flower coming. Ants and bugs. It's cool. Look, it's in a dish of water. That's cool. Look how big the trunk is on that thing. Look at the trunk on that thing. And then let's end it over here with this scarlet in the ground. This is a scarlet I planted. Oh, it's got flower on one side. I'm going to pull weeds, and you show the flowers on the side. Look up, keep going up the trunk. It should be some flowers at the top. You see it? So these are some of the challenges of growing Plinias jabuticabas in the greenhouse. In Florida, at least, you're going to have to worry about it getting too hot. You're going to have to worry about keeping them watered, keeping the pH right. They don't like salt in the water. They like a low pH. But man, you can fruit these just about anywhere. As long as you can keep it between 30 degrees and 110 degrees. Somewhere in that range. And even a little lower, maybe 25 up to 115. Thank you for your help, Chris.
Absolutely.
Flying Freedom Fruit Box.